There is a specific kind of responsibility that comes with being trusted to watch someone else's child in someone else's house. You learn the house quickly, which stairs creak, where the night light is, what time the kids actually fall asleep, versus what time their parents think they do. Most nights, nothing happens. You watch television. You do homework. You wait for headlights. In the driveway. The three people in tonight's stories were all babysitting when something happened that the house and the child inside it had not warned them about. Story number 1. The Man by the Closet. I was 17. Babysitting for a family in my neighborhood. I'd worked for regularly over about a year. 2 kids, 6 and 9. Easy job, usually. They went to bed without much fuss, and I'd spend the rest of the evening doing homework on their living room couch. One Saturday night, the parents were out later than usual. A wedding running long. The kids had been asleep for a couple hours. Around 11, the 6-year-old Emma came downstairs. Not unusual. Kids wake up. I asked her what was wrong. She said the man in her room told her to come get me. I asked her what man. She said the man who stands by her closet at night. She said he was there a lot. She said he was nice, and that tonight he said I should come check on her brother. I did the thing you do when a 6-year-old says something like that. I told her it was probably a dream, walked her back to her room, tucked her in, and told her I'd check on her brother. Since she'd asked, I went to her brother's room. He was having what I'd later learn, when the parents came home and called the pediatrician, was a febrile seizure. A seizure triggered by a rapid spike in fever, which is frightening, but usually not dangerous if caught and managed properly, which requires, critically, that someone catches it. He'd gone to bed, seemingly fine. No one had checked him in the 2 hours since. I got him into a safe position, called the parents, called emergency services on their advice, and he was fine. Completely fine. A high fever that spiked in his sleep. Caught in time. The parents were, understandably, shaken and grateful. In the same breath, I never told them what Emma had said about the man by her closet. I told myself it was a coincidence. A kid waking up scared, inventing a reason, and the reason happening to align with something real. I still babysat for that family for another year. Emma mentioned the man a few more times, always casually, the way kids talk about an imaginary friend. I never asked her to describe him. I'm still not sure. I wanted to know. Story number 2. The Lady in the Corner. I babysat through most of high school for extra money, and one of my regular families lived in an older house on the edge of town. The kind of house that had clearly been renovated multiple times over decades, with the slightly uneven floors. One boy, 4 years old, named Caleb. Sweet kid. Easy bedtime routine. Their house had a baby monitor set up in his room. Not because he was a baby anymore. Just habit from when he was younger. And the parents liked being able to check on him from the living room. I used it the same way. On the nights I sat for them, about 4 months into regularly babysitting for this family, I was downstairs one monitor sitting on the coffee table when I heard Caleb talking. Not unusual on its own. Kids talk in their sleep, or to stuffed animals, or to themselves. What made me pay attention was that it sounded like a conversation. Pauses in the right places, the specific rhythm, and then responding. I went upstairs to check. Caleb was sitting up in bed, looking toward the corner of his room near the closet. Mid-sentence, when I opened the door, I asked who he was talking to. He said the lady. I asked what lady? He said the one who used to sleep in his room before it was his room. I sat with him for a while, the way you do, until he settled back down and fell asleep. And I went back downstairs and didn't think much more of it that night. It became a pattern, though. Over the following months, maybe once every few weeks, I'd hear that rhythm. An elderly woman had passed away in the house, in what was now Caleb's room. She said it so plainly. The way people talk about a house's history when it doesn't scare them, that I didn't say anything else. I babysat for that family for 2 more years, until I left for college. Caleb still talked to the lady, sometimes, right up until the last time I sat for him. He never seemed frightened by it. If anything, he seemed like he'd miss her. When I told him I was leaving. Story number 3. The girl at the door. This happened when I was 19. Babysitting for a family I'd only worked for once before. One daughter, 8 years old, named Ruby. The parents had been very specific in their instructions before they left. Keep all the doors locked. Don't let Ruby answer the door for anyone, even if she says she knows who it is. They didn't explain why. I didn't ask. Parents give out instructions sometimes. Ruby went to bed around 8. I settled in on the couch with a book and the television on low. Around 9:30, there was a knock at the door. I didn't answer it. I remembered the instruction. A minute later, another knock. Then, faintly through the door, a voice. A child's voice, saying Ruby's name. I looked through the peephole. There was no one there. I checked the side window that looked out onto the porch. Empty. The knocking happened 2 more times over the next hour. Each time, the same soft voice, saying Ruby's name, like a child trying to get a friend to come out and play. Each time, no one visible through the peephole or the window. At some point, I checked on Ruby. She was awake, sitting up in bed, very still, listening. I asked if she'd heard the knocking. She nodded. I asked if she knew who it might be. She said it was the girl from outside. I asked what girl? She said the girl who used to live in their house before Ruby's family did, and who still came back sometimes to ask Ruby to play. She said her parents told her never to answer when the girl knocked. She said it very calmly. The way kids describe rules they've simply always known, without needing to understand why. I stayed with Ruby until her parents came home just after midnight. I told them about the knocking. Her mother went very quiet, then thanked me very sincerely for not opening the door. She didn't explain further. I didn't ask. I never babysat for that family again. Not because they asked me not to. Because I asked them not to ask me. A man by a closet who woke a little girl at exactly the right moment. A lady in the corner who used to sleep in a room. A girl at the door who never stopped asking to play. Children notice things. We've trained ourselves not to. Maybe that's all any of these stories are. Or maybe some houses who used to live in them. Thank you for listening. If you've babysat or been babysat, and something happened you never fully explained, comment your story. I read every one. For new stories every day, subscribe to Hollow Veins. And if a child you watch tonight tells you someone is standing by the closet, maybe just go check. Just in case.